What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sarkis Unlocked. Today, I have the great pleasure of having Johnny, hate him or love him, on today's show. You're going to learn how this rock star has done $30 million Q1. What's good, bro?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. That was a good one. Not our best, but it was a good one. So today's episode is a special one for me because I've got someone sitting across from me who I've had a front row seat watching grow, not just as an agent, but as a person, both professionally and personally. And for those who don't know Johnny, you will after this episode. Johnny's one of the top agents on the team right now. You're coming off $30 million first quarter, which is honestly insane when you really understand what goes into that. Most people don't do $30 million in a year, and you've been able to accomplish that in just one quarter. Best start of the year, best start of any year in real estate, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But what I respect most about you is not just the numbers. It's the way you've built it, your dedication to your family, your friends, the competitive nature that you bring, your consistency, the relationships, and the fact that nothing was handed to you. You had an opportunity to take an easier path in business, but you chose to pave your own way and build something on your own. You bet on yourself and built something on your own. I remember when you first came into our world, you had no real experience, no big track record, but you had something about you. And I'll be honest, bringing you on ended up being one of the best decisions we've made on this team.
Thank you.
So today isn't just about real estate. This is about your story, where you came from, what shaped you, and what you saw growing up, and what it really took to get where you are today. So let's get into it. I guess we can start in the beginning. This obviously didn't happen overnight. You didn't grow up here your whole life. You have roots. Talking about your Lebanese background. Tell us a little bit about you growing up, what Lebanon means to you, when you came here, and just a little bit about, growing up where you grew up.
Yeah, so my dad actually came here for college in 1984. Just like a lot of people, they left during the Civil War. So he studied here, started his business here, and then he went back to Lebanon, met my mom, and then they moved back here in 94. And so I was born and raised here.
You were born and raised here?
I was born and raised on the Cape. Lived there for 12 years. And then my grandmother got sick, so we all decided to move back to Lebanon. The whole plan was...
How old were you?
I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
Sorry, 12 years old.
12 years old.
My sister was 10 and my brother was 14. So I was 12 years old when we moved. It was the 7th grade. I just wrapped up 6th grade here. I went to a new place without knowing really anyone, besides my friends that I had made when I was in summer camp and growing up there.
Because you used to visit Lebanon in the summers.
Every summer, but I went to a school where I knew no one at school. So, and like at 12 years old, that could be, for me it was okay. I made friends right away, but yeah, I lived in Lebanon for 4 years during that time. I didn't know my grandma was sick at that time. My parents just said we're moving to Lebanon. And then later on, when I grew up, I found out the reason was for my mom to take care of my grandma.
Because our parents like to protect us.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't want to, ruin the vibe. And my grandma at the time didn't look sick, so we didn't really know. But besides the fact, moved to Lebanon for 4 years. And then when I was 16, I moved back here. I wrapped up junior, senior, and a PG year in high school. And then I had to make a decision, like, do I want to stay in college here? At the time, I was really dedicated. You know this, basketball was everything to me my whole life. So did I want to play college basketball and then go back and play professionally in Lebanon? Or did I just want to go to Lebanon, enjoy college with my friends and family, and then come back here and focus on business? I was 18 at the time, and I kind of understood, what it meant to be successful in business. And I was like, I think I want to be successful in business as opposed to play basketball. So my dad said...
You realized that you weren't going to go to the league. You weren't going to probably... I mean, how tall are you?
Like 5'10", but I knew I was going to go to the league before that. But I wanted to play because in Lebanon you can play as a local. I didn't have to play as an import, so it's not that difficult. If you're decently good at basketball and you played here for college, you can get a good contract for Lebanon. But that's the age where I found out good in Lebanon is not that good here for success and the wealth I wanted to create. So I spoke to my dad. He's like, just go do college in Lebanon with your friends and family, enjoy it, and then come back here and lock in and work hard. And that's exactly what I did. So I went back to Lebanon. I played professionally for a year, and then I dropped from the first division to the second so I could really enjoy my college experience.
Because the first division was very serious.
Yeah, we had 3 imports. I was playing with ex-NBA players like Eben Duty, who got drafted straight out of high school, and Clay Tucker, EuroLeague champion. Like, these guys we were practicing like 3 times a day. And with college and also trying to have fun, be 19 years old, it was tough. So yeah, then I moved back here, and kind of that jumps into the story of how I got into real estate.
Now, before real estate, your dad coming to the U.S. with nothing, going to school here, building a business from scratch. It's very different than growing up like in a family where, second, third generation wealth. Your dad was the first generation to make it here in your family. And, I've met your dad. He's not exactly warm and fuzzy and, uplifting all the time. He's tough, which my dad is as well. But, growing up in that environment, talk to me a little bit about the household, dynamic, the strict and disciplined upbringing, and really learning the value of money at an early age from your dad.
Yeah, great question, because that's kind of how I, became who I became, but without even knowing, because when you're young, you are your surroundings. And so working hard, waking up really early, and working till you go to bed was just normal for me, because that's all I saw. Mm-hmm. And then having strict parents and Lebanese parents, it's like, I didn't sleep over anyone's house till I was in college. Like, super classical, strict Lebanese parents, and I saw my dad's journey, because when I was born, growing up as a kid, I didn't think he was super successful. He had a business, he was making, decent money, and what I really felt the difference was when I moved to Lebanon and then moved back here. So during those 4 years, he must have put his head down and grinded, sort of like you and Manny, and all of us getting to that stage where it's like you're on one for a good amount of time, and it kind of builds the rest of your life. Momentum. He had some great momentum, because the goal was for him to sell and move to Lebanon, and I think the momentum didn't allow him to do that. And thankfully,
once you get a taste, you want to keep it going, keep it going. When did you realize you were wired differently?
Since I was young, but through basketball. Yeah, since I was like grade school, I was already working harder than everyone else on the team. But it was natural, because.
Were you always this competitive?
Yeah.
You were. And how did basketball translate into business today?
A lot of things. First of all, it's a team sport. When you're young, you could choose to do boxing, tennis, figure skating, whatever it is, but I chose a team sport. I love being on a team. I love the aspect of every single person bringing something to the table, and you learn from every single person, and you adapt, even though you might want to do things your way. You can't always do things your way, and at a young age, when you learn that, it's really helpful, because not only helps you work with people, but when you're dealing with clients, you know that things aren't always going to go your way, and you kind of you learn that. So yeah, that's basketball helped a lot. Basketball helped a lot for sure.
And you spoke about your dad, his business taking off. He grew a very successful business. He's still running it today. And you had the opportunity to jump into that business. Why was it important for you to build something on your own? And what was the reason to get into real estate, overall?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a blur, because I moved from Lebanon back to the States for the third time, February 22nd. And I don't know if you remember, 2020, COVID, and the president went on TV and announced, the total shutdown 10 days after I landed. So I thought I was coming in and gonna be really active and doing a bunch, and then everything was shut down. And shut down and on Cape Cod is different than shut down in the city. Like there's nothing to do. So I had just left Lebanon. I was at the peak of, my relationships and basketball, and I was living a really, really good life, and I was at the peak. And then I come somewhere brand new. Falmouth during the winter, and then COVID a week later. So I hope that puts it into perspective of how down I was. So I was super down. I started working for my dad, and it's tough when you have someone who ran a business and started from nothing to, make you feel like you're part of it. So I was truly just like a starter employee at the company. And I knew right away I did not want to sit in one office all day from morning till night. So that's when I started looking at other things I could do, but I never thought I'd be selling the amount I'm selling now, or on the Cape especially.
Did you know who we were at the time?
Not when I just landed, but after a little bit, I knew, of course. There's like two Lebanese brothers who sit in courtside all the time. Like, what are they doing? What's going on?
So you were curious.
Yeah, but I was also proud. It's like when you see someone from your country and like really successful, young, it's like the first thing you think is, wow, if they could do it, I want to do it. And didn't know much about you guys besides that you were super successful in sitting courtside. And I watched basketball, so I was like, these guys are every game on the floor. Like, what do they do? And then I learned more and more real estate. I'm like, there's no way I could ever sell that much real estate. Like, how can you sell that much real estate to be that successful? Being in a household where it's an immigrant family, they don't love sales that much. They don't like commission. They don't like not knowing how much you're going to make at the end of the year. You can relate to this while you're
100%.
laughing. But
no, I get it. I'm
it's like,
with
how
you.
can you take a risk without knowing it's scary, especially first couple of years. But yeah, I mean, the story of how we met. It's a long story.
And then we met. I have a godfather, my godfather Marcel, who is like another father to me. Basically, had a relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
They did some business together.
Yep.
And talk about that first time Marcel met you, and what he kind of said about you and how it all went down.
Yeah, I mean,
just quick.
Yeah, real quickly. So I was at the low. I was even in my bedroom when they were over, and I didn't want to come down for lunch. Like, I was really not happy with everything going on. But my mom texted me. She's like, "Come down. Like, we have guests." I was like, "All right." I come down. I start talking a little bit, and then I make Amo Marcel laugh and Amo Raji, and I make them all laugh. And he's like, "You remind me of my godson." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "He's also in real estate. I had just got my license. No sales, nothing. I just got my license." And my dad was telling, Amo Marcel, he just got his license. He was like, "He's also in real estate. I should connect you guys at some point. His name is George." I'm like, George, rings a bell, Lebanese. He's got to be Lebanese. And Boston. I'm like, "What's his last name?" He said, "Sarkis." He said, "Does he have a brother?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do they like the Celtics?" And I'm puzzling together that it's you guys that sit on the court. He's like, "Yeah, that's them." I'm like, "Wow, that's awesome. I know who they are. Like, would love to meet them some point." Now, this was like 8 months before I had the first interaction with Manny. This was like, but I kept it in my head that Marcel...
You reached out to me.
No, I reached out to Manny.
You reached out to Manny.
Yeah. And I always kept it in my head, like, when I hit rock bottom, I know Amo Marcel can connect me with George and Manny. And so I kept on trying to do things to stay on the Cape and work in the family business. But whatever I tried, I wasn't happy. It's not like not clicking, because the business was there.
Yeah.
I just wasn't happy. I'm like, there's no way I can stay.
But you had your real estate license. You weren't doing anything there.
Yeah. I had no idea how people were selling volumes. Now, I did realize later on that a lot of it was being on the Cape.
Yeah.
And being surrounded by average age of 65, and during the winter, there's no one there. That was a part of it. But yeah, I reached out to me. I mean, do we want to go into that story?
I mean, you had the first meeting. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
With Manny, you finally reached out to Manny.
Finally got a hold of Manny after,
Yep.
but it's important because the reason Manny kind of took the bet on me was because of the process leading up to before that meeting. This was 3 months of like texting Manny and following up and texting and following up and texting.
Just being persistent.
Super persistent.
Relentless.
I have to, completely relentless. I was like, I have to sit down with him. He probably thinks there's no way, but if I sit with him in person, I will figure it out. I was so new to the city in Boston that I parked somewhere I wasn't supposed to park, got a ticket, but I waited for Manny. We were at Starbucks.
You can afford to pay that ticket now.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You good.
But this is funny because Manny was on the phone with the head coach of the Celtics at the time, Ime. He had just got the job with the Celtics, and I heard him talking. He was like talking to another agent. It was like a movie. I'm like sitting there waiting to meet, Manny, and he's coming in. He's negotiating a deal for the head coach of the Celtics. I'm like, oh boy, like what's this meeting going to be about? He sits down, and 15 minutes turns into a couple hours. He walks me to the Parker. We sit, we talk. I give him a resume. He's like, it's kind of like I met you. I know what you're about. Like, let's see if we can do something together. And he told me the reason I can't commit today is because I have my partner, my brother, who started the team, and I have to run things by him. So yeah. After that meeting, kept on.
Manny called me right away, and he kind of gave me the rundown, and I had heard a lot about you, but I hear about a lot of people.
Yeah, of course.
And we then ended up meeting and really hit it off. I saw some super special things in you, and like I said in the beginning, one of the best decisions we made. You wouldn't be here right now if you did not continue to follow up, if you weren't persistent, with your desire to be on this team.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is some people get it, what we had known about you helped. The fact that, you had family values. You were an athlete. These are key things that we look for when we are looking to build our team. Do they have that it factor? First off, you love basketball. Basketball is a competitive team sport, as you mentioned. Your family, the Lebanese values, the fact that I knew about your dad and him coming here and building something from scratch. It's a story, it's different, and it means you have something in you that other people may not have. So, it was the fact that yes, your character, your personality, and your persistence led to it. With that combined, it was an easy decision for us to make. We did not expect you to break through as quick as you did. Not many people really understand what that's like to build momentum and break through into a market as quickly as you have done. But let's talk about that breakthrough moment. I say it was the Parker. We had this new development project that we were selling 168 units. Huge learning experience for the both of us. That was the first big new development project the Sarkis team took on, 168 units. One of the toughest sells, in my opinion, in Boston. We had obstacles through the roof, location, size, no parking, no private outdoor space, natural light, just finances. Interest rates jumping up. Interest rates went from 3.5 to 4.5 to 5.5.
Right when we were starting to sell.
Also, supply chains, getting product, getting the construction completed. COVID hit. You can't even make it up. Yeah. All of these struggles, and I got a kid who just starts, selling real estate for us. Hasn't even been in the business for a year yet. And we put you in. we call your number to jump into that building and you sold a lot of units, you are a big reason for the success at the Parker. You put your money where your mouth is. You bought your first unit. Your first real estate purchase was you bought a 1-bedroom at the Parker. Lived there, enjoyed the city life for the first time, being a homeowner. And you were able to work and play in the same place. And just tell us a little bit about, why did you bet on yourself and buy in that building? And what did you do differently to make that project successful?
I bet on myself because I knew, I learned from you and Manny that, when you're on a development like this, having skin in the game helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm selling all day why this building is great. How can I go buy somewhere else? So I kind of put 2 and 2 together and I understood, it was really going to help, which it did. You know that I sold a lot of units to friends and people in my sphere, and I don't think that would have been possible if I hadn't bought a unit there. So that answers part 1, but part 2, as to the success, I kind of knew who the target audience was, and it was right up my alley, and so I kept on selling to the right people, and then the momentum, the referrals, they started building up, and then when someone walks in, I knew what every obstacle was, so when I heard it, I had the answer right away.
You had the narrative.
I had the narrative. So when someone says, oh, let me, and I knew the building so well, I still know it. I know it so well that I knew exactly, when someone walked in, I knew exactly which unit to show them, and I would know how to show it. So even though I know I want them to see 1802, I'd start at 1602 or 1604 in that case. Because the next thing they'd be, oh, I love it, but I need a little bit more of a view. Oh, I think I have a unit that fits that criteria. And I take them to that unit where I knew initially that's the unit for them.
The view break.
The view break, and just knowing what
understanding that, like you're talking about, you've been in the business for a year, not even a year. And for me, pricing a new development building was a whole different experience. It's an art. It's an art. Where is the unit facing? What are the break points in the building? What are the jumps in pricing?
And the stack.
And the stack. How do you push pricing? And how do you deal, like you said, with the obstacles, what people are going to say? How do you sell it? There's no better way to sell it than telling people that you're living in it. You bought there. You put your money where your mouth is. Reps, getting the objections, hearing the negative feedback only allows you and prepares you for the next, objection.
Yeah.
Because how did you respond to that objection? What did you say? And then understand the success in building. And then the crazy thing is, the number one word, is always the word I go to when it comes to building. Momentum. We had momentum. At one point, you were on a heater.
We had great runs.
You had
we had great runs.
5, 6 units in a week, 7 units.
And the pressure was on.
The calls
were brutal.
And oh my God, the developers, the lenders, everyone was honest. The pressure was high. Once again, that Parker was successful. That project was successful because of you. And I think it was an awesome segue into you getting into this business, you understanding that it's a grind, you understanding that you have to be on your A game, you have to know the product, you have to be knowledgeable, or else, because a lot of people get by in this business by just figuring it out. And you can do that, and sell 15 to 20 million a year. You can't get to the 50 plus numbers by just figuring it out. You need to be an expert. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to be prepared, over-prepared. You cannot be reactive. You have to be proactive like you were, knowing the objections, knowing what the negative feedback was. And you did that better than anyone else. And I always said it, back in the day, if you can sell units at the Parker, you can sell units anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So, your skills and mindset are different than most people. I mean, I think that you just have the natural ability to make people feel comfortable, make people feel connected, which, I would say no one else can relate to that like me. Yeah. That's really my strong suit. That's how I've built my business. So I've seen a lot of, characteristics in you, in myself. And that's why I've been super hard on you. That's why I've, put the pressure on you, because I saw that you have something special. You have that edge, and you're capable. And when I started building my business, I didn't have a me. I had to figure it out on my own. I had to make a lot of mistakes that I now realize were lessons in disguise. And I want to be able to pass that off. Sometimes people have to learn on their own, but my job as a leader is to at least not let you learn the things I can teach you.
Yeah.
And kind of fast forward you having to figure it out on your own. To just buy you time. Because I want to buy back everybody's time. And, let's go back, though, to the family. One thing about you and I as well is the family dynamic. You are a loyal person. Family means everything to you. How has your upbringing shaped you into who you are and how you treat people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very blessed with great parents, and there's really no room for mistake. So everyone's gonna make mistakes. I made them at a young age, and if I did, I paid the price. I am also lucky I was a middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister, just like you.
Yep.
And as you know, younger brother, I learned a lot from my brother's mistakes without me having to do them. When he did something, we were younger, and he got in trouble, I knew, maybe I shouldn't try that one. And then
being the middle child is just something special.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you learn, but then it's a curse because my sister's a little, everyone's softer on her, and my brother, is the first, and then I'm just, thrown into the fire a lot. But it was great for me because I turned out to do my own thing, and it all helped. But yeah, just upbringing, typical.
Mom babies you a little bit.
I'm the least babied. But yeah, compared to most people, for sure. I mean, just having a Lebanese mom and always making sure, my health and working out and doing all these things.
Did you bring a jacket? You wearing a jacket?
Yeah, wearing a jacket.
Habiba, did you do this?
Don't shower and go outside. I mean, there's a lot of things people wouldn't even understand what we're saying, but like.
Naiman.
Yeah. Don't take a hot shower and go outside. Always jacket, scarf, till what time are you staying out? Always. She was always
worried.
Protective. Yeah.
I mean, our mothers grew up in, in a war zone.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I don't blame them. So. I think the most important thing is growing up. I think the edge, or if you were to ask me, like, what's different, it really does have, it's really, in my opinion, cultural, because Lebanese people in general, we've been going, since Lebanon was a country, all we've been going through is wars and fights and so much. So what we learned naturally was resilience. And so I think everyone who's Lebanese and has origins, roots in that area, there's like some sort of resiliency in their blood and their DNA. You mix that with USA, which is the land of opportunity. You mix resiliency with opportunity. It's like there's no way to not be successful. It's like you work really hard and nothing's gonna stop you, and then you have the opportunity, you combine that, it's like it's the equation to success. So you know,
and listen, it's really dealing with the downfalls, dealing with the slow periods in business, not giving up.
yeah,
I remember 2 years ago, even the start of last year, you were dead in the water.
yeah,
You had nothing cooking. Business was slow. You couldn't sell your listings.
a couple times it happened. A few times.
You, at one point, were like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to afford to live in the city anymore. My dad's not helping me. I'm on my own. Maybe I got to move back to the Cape. But, we had some good conversations.
Yeah.
I spoke to you a couple times. I tried my best to stay tough on you, but also give you hope and lead by example. And, the results were there. You battled through it. You had a strong end to 2025 and a crazy start to 2026. As I mentioned, $30 million in Q1 performance. You bought a second property last year to end the year.
Yeah.
You did little renovation on it.
Yeah.
So you're continuing to build that real estate portfolio on your own, which is a blessing to be able to do that. Your hard work has led to that. And you're putting your money in a city that you sell every single day.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I tell you, because that's what we did. And once again, leading by example, that is an example of that.
For sure.
What's clicking for you right now? Like, what's clicking for you right now? You're off to a great start. And what's different about this year versus last year? Because the starts,
Yeah.
last year, this year.
Yeah. Right.
Like, what's clicking?
Well, I learned this from you guys, but always had so many balls in the air. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of them, transforming into business. But the main difference is the clientele that I'm now, I don't want to say targeting, because I still do rentals. I do everything. Rentals, first-time home buyers. I'm literally helping a girl right now find a studio near the Longwood area for a couple grand. So, but I've gotten better at the higher price point listings. And the listing...
Better quality over quantity.
Yeah, exactly. So, I could sell two $2 million homes or one $4 million, and I kind of learned that from you guys early on. It's like, how are they getting these huge listings? And I just realized it's the same as the small ones, but these guys just have, more money or more success, and it's just the approach is almost the same. It's just they're much more difficult to deal with. Actually, sometimes first-time home buyers can be also difficult, but it's getting in a sphere or in a circle where, people have the means to buy massive homes or luxury properties, and
Is it easy to just sell a house like that,
Yeah,
to build that?
super easy.
Is it?
Just takes a couple.
What about how were you able to build credibility, Johnny? Like, at the end of the day.
That Sarkis Team, that's my personal credibility is who I am. But without the Sarkis Team, it doesn't. Yeah, he's a great person, he's a great guy, but going up against a powerhouse, like I've gotten listings going up against the biggest. We don't want to say names, the biggest brokers in the city, like that have been longer. Been around longer than you and Manny, but I would have never been able to do that if I didn't have the Sarkis Team branding. So credibility was, yes, who I am, but also the Sarkis Team. You mix that together, and then I'm just going out trying to get 5, 6, 7, $10 million listings. So I think what changed from last year to this year is more of those bigger listings. Bigger listings means the buyers that are coming in have the means. You turn them into buyers, or then they buy and then they want to sell. You've been preaching this for a long time.
Because yes, if you have a $7-8 million listing, and you have direct showings, you have open houses, these buyers, who most of the time can afford to make that move, come in. If you build trust with these buyers. If it's not
all it
that,
is.
if it's not that property, it's another property.
Yeah.
Having the access to the off-market listings we have has been super helpful. You brought I'd say, one of the biggest deals you've done is you brought a direct buyer to one of our listings. It's the biggest in Brookline. We don't have to mention the address, but it's the biggest agent Sarkis Team direct deal.
Yeah.
You know, you brought a buyer to one of our listings. It was 7 million, 7 plus?
7.6.
7.6, and you know, that was the turning point of the momentum, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's where it started turning. The wheels started moving.
That relationship was built 5 years ago, though.
So talk about that. Then
Like,
you're talking
you
about
know?
relationships, because everyone in this industry, they're always looking to do the next deal, the next deal, the next deal. How would you explain to someone starting in this industry or getting in the business and wanting to, you know, there's always that question that people ask me, how did you get into the
Luxury.
luxury? They love using the fucking word luxury. Yeah. How did you get into the luxury space? People think it like happened overnight. You just said 5 years. So what would your advice be to an agent that wants to level up and start doing 40, 50 plus million a year? What would you say?
I would say two things. Who you hang out with and who you spend your time with is going to dictate whether you can get into that space or not. Because if you're still hanging out with your high school friends who are, you know, getting off at work at 5 p.m. and playing video games till 10, good luck. Like, it's just not happening.
You ever play video games, bro?
During COVID, I played a little bit, but I gave away my PlayStation. I gave it away.
I haven't played video games since N64.
Well, I love Fortnite, so I was playing Fortnite with the boys, and plus we were sitting at home. Like, you know, that was a weird period though. But
so number one, surrounding yourself with
the right people. But another thing that I did really well, I was already at rock bottom. I had no money, so I was like, should I start saving up every time I do it? I was like, no, I'm gonna spend every single dollar I make into getting into the right circles, wining and dining the right people, and one day it's gonna pay off. It's gonna come back to me. I got to a point where I literally did not have enough money to pay for a dinner, but I was paying for a $500-600 dinner, and figuring it out after. I was like, oh, I need to do a rental this week because I just took this guy out to dinner, and I have 30 days to pay that bill. I was already there, so I was like, it's not gonna matter one more year of doing that because I'm already at the bottom. It's the same thing. Like, what are you gonna lose when you go talk to someone and they reject you? Before you went up to them,
you didn't
it's
have
like
anything.
You didn't have any. Same thing I did in real estate is I was spending every dollar I made on good people, good clientele, not always people who wanted to buy or sell, but people who would also refer me business alliances, just the right people. So anyone who's starting off, my advice would be, don't think about making money right now. Just spend it all on your network and your...
Invest in your business.
It's
like,
the
listen,
same thing.
And that makes sense because, right, people think that, like, you're selling real estate and you don't have expenses, right? It's like, but if you open up a store, if you open up any business, there is a big investment.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in real estate. You have to invest in your marketing. You have to invest in the clientele that you want. Yeah. And you have to build credibility. You have to put yourself in the rooms that you want to be in, which is so important, which you've done at a very high level. We're going to wrap this up. What does the next 3 to 5 years look like for Johnny? And what are you chasing beyond money? So the next 3 to 5 years, where do you want to be? What's it look like for you? And you know, what are you chasing? It's a tough question, I know,
yeah,
but like,
because next 3 to 5 years, I want to take the next level up. So like, I just want to keep going higher and higher to the highest price points you can get to in the city of Boston, sort of like where you and Manny are. I want to keep networking with that entourage. I want to keep selling to those. But I also don't want to leave behind the people that helped me build my business, because
100%.
some of those people that rented from me, their friend's uncle is someone who bought a $7 million place from me. So like, I want to be able to have tentacles and reach into all these different markets.
What about like, building a little team around you? Because obviously delegation is key. You can only be, one place at one time. So like, how about that? Is that something you think about? Like,
for sure. I mean, the more business I get, the more conversations we'll have together. But I want to start bringing on more people under me to help me with this.
Carry easy climb, right?
With this growth, and it's great. The system we have and the team we have, it allows you to grow and sell a lot, but also get some help. And I mean, people will see in 3 to 5 years, where we're at. But
and what else are you chasing beyond money?
I want to have a family, so want my own family and freedom. I love traveling.
I know.
So.
I know you love to travel.
Yeah, freedom. I want to be able to make money when I'm not physically in a location. So that's kind of how I get there. That's kind of what I want to get to. I want to be able to make money when I'm not.
Do you want to keep buying property?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to renovate. I want to do another renovation, but this time for profit, for sale.
I like that. Oh. Well, this was super powerful. I think what people are going to take away from this more than anything is that none of this is luck. This is years of being wired a certain way, growing up in an environment where nothing was given, everything was earned. And then making a decision to bet on yourself and actually following through with it and not giving up. Because sometimes people get so close and that's when they give up, and you didn't. You stayed the track. You didn't stray away. You didn't take that easy bailout option, and I've seen it firsthand. You've put in the work, and you've built relationships, not just transactions. That's why you're having the success you're having now. I'm proud of you, for real, and I'm excited to see where things go from here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And for everyone listening, how can they find you? How can they connect with you and learn more about Johnny?
Just follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. Email me, and more than happy. I'll definitely answer.
Perfect. For those looking for a guy who is built different, who will put in the work, and someone you can trust, follow my guy, reach out to Johnny. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.